Hi, Power Platform Junkies. My name is Chuma Memela, and I'll be taking you guys through Power BI today. Firstly, we need to open Power BI. So I've already opened mine. And the first thing that you do when you open Power BI, you are given a set of options of how you would like to import data, right? So you've got option to import data from Excel, SQL, and a whole range of other methods that you can find here on the screen. I mean, on this option, which is written get data, and you can see all the different methods that you can use to get your data, right? So for us, we will be making use of Microsoft Excel to get our data. Just one moment while we sift through all of this dirt and find an Excel spreadsheet to work on. So there's an Excel spreadsheet that I pre-downloaded from the internet, and it is called sample data for insurance. So essentially, this is just an Excel spreadsheet of a sample insurance company in the United States of America, and that is what we'll be making use of to make our dashboard. So while we wait for it to load, the Power BI form is quite simple. You've got your visualizations here on your right, and you have a whole lot of options that you can make use of. You've also got your pages here at the bottom. So essentially, you could have one big report with multiple pages. I don't know if there is a limit on that, but I mean, I would imagine that anything in the ranges of 10 pages would be enough for even a big report, right? Over here, we've got your insert tabs modeling, nothing out of the ordinary from the typical Microsoft user interface, right? So Power BI now has successfully loaded our Excel spreadsheet. We've got here table policies, my links, policy data, instructions, right? So what's really important to us is it's not the instructions, it's not the links. What we want to see is the table policies and the policy data, right? And it gives us the preview there of the policy data and the table policies, right? That's all we need. So what do? We go and load that data. Okay, now we'll give a second while we wait for it to load. Let me switch off my camera here. Okay, Power BI desktop not responding. Just 1 second, guys. I think my laptop is underperforming today. Okay, there are pending changes. No, that's not important. This is coming from a previous dashboard that I was working on. There we go. Our data is now loading. Almost there, almost there. There we go. I think it took quite a while because of the number of rows and columns that we have on this spreadsheet. So each the amount of time it takes for each spreadsheet to load will be dependent on the size of it, of course, right? So now we can begin with working on our canvas. So this will be our page 1 of our report. One moment, it's working on it. And there we go, right? So the first thing I would like for us to do is just have a text box. I've got a nice text box there. Let's say, what should we name our insurance company? So let's say we want to call it Momentum. Momentum Insurance. I promise I don't have any shares in Momentum or anything like that. It's the first word that just came to mind. Okay, and then simply press Control Alt to select all of that, and then we change our font size. Right, so we'd like our font size to be quite big so that anyone is able to see it. How's this font size of 36? That's great. Let's bold it out and let us center it. Then we can widen that a bit. Momentum Insurance. Right, that's nice. Insurance Group. Now we've got our title sorted. I like it when my things are aligned, so forgive me for this unnecessary over here. So the first thing, one of the visualizations that I like using, right, is the card visualization. So we'll pick a card there, and it should show up here on the left of our canvas. There we go. And we need to click some of these drop down options here. So remember, we loaded two spreadsheets earlier on. It was the insurance spreadsheet, and that included policy data and then the table policies. So when you click that drop down, it gives us that whole range, right? So we've chosen a card visualizations here, and what we'd like to see on that card visualization is, let's maybe take the sum of policies. So sum of policies, that's the visualization we'd like to see. Okay. There we go. Took us a second for it to respond. So we've selected sum of policies for our first card visualization. Then let's go choose our second visualization, which will take this time the sum of insured value. That's what we want to see on our second visualization. And then what other visualization can we have here? None of those that we can use for card, right? So just waiting for this thing to pop up. This is taking rather longer than usual to load the visualizations. There we go. Now we've got our two card visualizations. So this gives us the sum of the number of policies that this Momentum Insurance Group has, right? And then the total sum of insured value of all of those policies amounts to 2 billion, right? So we have an idea of how many policies this insurance group has and how many, what is the total amount of insured value for this particular insurance company. Then I'd also like to add a map here, right? So in terms of, so that we can be aware of where our customer base comes from, and just to get a sense of the demographics and where the, the company is dominant, across the United States of America. So the map I usually like to choose, well, depending on the visualization, but I like to usually choose a field map, right? That is a field map. It'll take some time, of course, to load, but let's allow it some time. In the meantime, let us maximize that. Okay. There we go. I think that looks nice. Cool. I know the dashboard still looks a bit bland and not bright and colorful, but we'll do those finishing touches at the end. What's important right now is that we get the necessary visualizations on our dashboard. So another important and very useful visualization is a bar chart, right? So here we've got different types of bar chart. We've got a line chart, we have got a stack column chart, we've got a clustered column chart, and then a whole range of different bar charts. So some of them are vertical, some of them are horizontal, right? So it's totally up to you which one you prefer, and it also depends on what kind of data you are trying to represent, right? So for us here, I would say let's take this clustered bar chart, right? And let's say we want to see the sum of policies um, by region, maybe, right? We want to see the sum of policies by region. And then there we go. We've got our visualization right there. So we've got the East, Midwest, Northeast, and Central, right? Those are our respective regions within the United States of America. Where is our field map? Okay, select a drag a visual for this. Maybe let's say state. And that should fill it up. Okay, in the meantime, while we're waiting for that to load, let's have the same column here, the same type of visualization, but now we'll choose a second set of values or metrics. So here, initially we had sum of policy by region. Now let's say we want the sum of insured value, right? By, I don't know, state, for instance. Right, so of course, this visualization would entail, why is it in percentage? Right, but you can see there all of the states in New York. Not too familiar with all of the states of America. I'm guessing that's Ohio. I'm sure that's Mississippi, and all of that. I would like to change this visualization to stop being represented as a percentage, but rather an actual value. So for region, rather. Wonder why. Multiples. Never actually encountered this problem, so goes to show that I need to go educate myself on this platform, so that I can know how to change the value of something. Let's try this again. Here, sum of policy by region, but we don't want policy. We actually want insured value. There we go. There we go. So to mitigate that without wasting any time, I simply clicked on this one, copied that, and then pasted it. And all I did was I had to come here and just simply change the sum of policies to just sum of insured value. So now look at this dashboard interact, right? Let's say we want to click on, I don't know, the Midwest, right? Automatically, it gives us the sum of all the policies within the Midwest. It shows us on the map the Midwest. It gives us the sum of insured value, which is $469 million. And then here it also gives us the Midwest and tells us how much that value is. So these two are exactly the same thing. It's just that this is a visual representation in terms of a bar chart, and then the card just shows you the numbers. And the same is true here. These are exactly the same. It's just that this one is a visual representation, while that one shows you the exact same, but in terms of numbers, right? So exactly the same thing. So what is another visualization that we can make use of here? So maybe let's try a pie chart, for instance, right? See how that will treat us. I'd definitely like to extend that a bit so that it looks much better than it does now. It looks a bit squashed up as it stands. Okay, we'll align these at the end. I mean, the point of the exercise is not to create the best looking visualization given the time, but most definitely is to convey the idea and impart the knowledge of what is required. Right, so here we've got a pie chart, right? And using this pie chart, we can represent different metrics over here. So if we want to maybe look at the policy data, and maybe on our pie chart, we'd like to see how, let's maybe take a look at the business type, right? So these are the respective business types within this insurance company, or what the different businesses that this insurance company insures, right? So we've got that over there, but now it is not showing on our values. So let's try and move that there so that we can be able to see, okay. And then sum of insured value. Let's have number of policies, right? Cool. So there, from this visualization, we are able to tell, for instance, apartments is the number of policies, right? In apartments is 17 million policies, and we can see that it has the largest share. We can tell that the value of those 17 million policies are worth $1 billion, and they are from these states or these regions. So it's predominantly the East, bit of the Midwest, less of North, and the least is from Central America, right? So from this dashboard, we are able to tell, okay, what is our biggest customer stronghold? It's within the insurance sector of apartments, right? And that is in East America, it's worth $1 billion, and we've got 17 million policies, right? Now we can have a look at our second best performing, which would be farming at 12 million policies. That is worth $346 million. And these are the states that take up this insurance, right? So it's Wisconsin, New York, VT, and NJ, right? So we've got 4 small, relatively basic visualizations here. You can play around with the rest. It will depend what visualizations are best based on the kind of spreadsheet spreadsheet that you are making use of, right? So now it's time for us to make this visualization a little bit pretty. So we come here. So initially we were here, and this is where we could see all of our visualizations. We come here on the second, format the page. So we've got canvas background. You have an option when you get here. You can either change the color, or if you have maybe an image that you would like to use for your background, maybe you make use of Midjourney and you design a really nice background. You have an option to browse and come and upload that onto your report, and it'll give you that nice visual. But for the purposes of this exercise, we will make use of just plainly color, right? So that is, we've chosen the color gray, and we are just waiting for it to change. Okay. Here on transparency, you can play around with it in terms of how much you want the gray to pop out, right? So as we can see, this is all over the place and it does not look good. So we need to fix that up. Okay, let's make some adjustments there. Right. That looks much better. Not the best, but much better. Right. Then we drag that to the bottom. There we go. Now we make sure that the right is aligned with the left. So fortunately on Power BI, it's able to give you that red line there to tell you if your things are aligned or not, right? So here, try and drag it up a bit. Okay, there we go. Now it's aligned. But this doesn't look aligned here. I don't like this gap. It's a bit big. There we go. Now our dashboard is aligned, right? You are also able to change the color of these visualizations. So maybe if you wanted to change the color of your card, category level, visual general, go to effects. Maybe you wanted it to be blue, right? So from there you can change the color of that visual, right? Maybe you wanted it to be yellow, right? And maybe you want to do that for all of them, right? So the color there, and we've got a nice yellow visualization. So our insurance thing is actually coming along nicely now, right? And you can play around with all of those visualizations. You are also able to change the name of your visualization. So if you don't want this sum of policy there, you are able to go and change that. If you want to, maybe you want the farming, maybe, okay, let's do this. Right, okay, that there, sum of policy on top. Okay, that is not looking too pretty. But you can play around with the dashboard and do what you wish with it, and it'll depend with what you are trying to achieve. So depending on the spreadsheet that you have, that you are working with, and what data are you trying to represent, then that will determine what your dashboard will look like, what visualizations you'll use, and what you want your background to look like. So of course, when it comes to choosing colors, you want to choose something that is easy for people to see and easy for people to read. You know, so for instance, you can't come and make this the color of this now to be black, because no one will see that Momentum Insurance Group, right? Or you can't do what I did here, which was change these around, put business type there and sum of policy there, because that absolutely makes no sense, right? So yeah, that is the end of our lesson for today. This is just an entry level, I don't know what to call it, session on how to build Power BI visualizations. I think maybe in the next session when I'm invited, I'll be able to make use of a more complex dashboard that will have multiple pages, and we can dissect that, and maybe we'll do that over an hour as opposed to over a period of 30 minutes.